सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां तपोभिः क्षीणपापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणां मुमुक्षूणामपेक्ष्योऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते. Okay. So I think we finished till the 55th shloka. So the shloka earlier also is along the same trend, like from the 54th shloka. Tad Brahma iti avadharayet is the refrain that he uses for the three shlokas 54, 55 and 56 to describe the give the lakshanam or the definition, tatastha lakshanam for Brahman. Yal labhat naparo labhaha, yat sukhat naparam sukham, yat jnanat na aparam jnanam, tad brahma iti avadharayet. One should understand that that is the ultimate form beyond which there is nothing else to be gained. When we gain that knowledge and we attain that Brahma bhava, then there is nothing further to be gained. The same way, yat sukhat na aparam sukham, there is no other sukham, there is no other bliss beyond this Brahma Ananda. And there is no other knowledge other than this Brahma Jnanam. The next 55th was Yad drishtva na aparam drishyam, yad bhutva na punarbhavaha, yad jnatva na aparam jneyam, tad brahma iti avadharayet. The moment we understand or know swatmatvena drishtva, so yad drishtva, when we understand that this ultimate supreme reality is the true nature of jiva, then there is nothing else to be seen, because that is the only vastu and that envelops everything in the world. Yad bhutva, the moment we become brahmavit, brahmaiva bhavati. Brahmavit, one who the knower of Brahman becomes the Brahman itself. So yat bhutva, as soon as you attain that Brahmatvam, there is no punarbhavaha, there is no janma again. One does not take another birth. Yajñātva na aparam jneyam. The moment we understand about the Brahman, there is no other vastu that has to be understood. Knowledge is different. Something that has to be known is different. So that Triputi Karanam he is trying to bring in with the earlier shloka and here, because in the earlier shloka he says yat jnanam, right? Yad jnanat na aparam jnanam, he is of the swarupam of knowledge. And then when you come to this 55th shloka, yad jnatva na aparam jneyam, you take it as the karma padam of your, it is the goal of your knowledge and not the knowledge itself in this second shloka. So sometimes it can be a little confusing as to why he is using jnanam in both shlokas, but the perspective is different in the second shloka, where he says yat jnatva, after knowing which there is no other vastu to be known. Because this is the ultimate jnatavyam vastu. Tat brahma iti avadharayet. In the same trend, the 56th shloka, tiryag urdhvam adhav purnam satchidanandam advayam anantam nityam ekam yat tad brahma iti avadharayet. Tiryak urdhvam adhaha purnam satchidanandam advayam. So tad brahma, you understand that to be the ultimate one, that is Brahman. Tiryak urdhvam adaha cha sarvatra purnam. Tiryak, whether it is horizontal or vertical, urdhvam adhaha. So when you say tiryak in width, length and breadth of the world, let's say something like that. So he is Purnam, like how we imagine a circle. There is it is the same whether you measure it horizontally or whether you measure it up or down. No matter what, it seems to be the same in measurement. That is just to understand. You cannot immediately say that Brahman is circle. So tiryak bhage, urdhvam urdhva bhage, adhaha adho bhage. Sarvatra Purna. No matter where we think about Brahman, it is full, it is complete in its nature. Paripurnam, Satchidananda. Like, see, sometimes you can say that an animal, let's say, which is the biggest animal, you think it is the elephant probably, but then it is only big in breadth or length. Whereas when you take the blue whale, it is big in Tiryak, but probably the height is not as big as the elephant. Something like that. All of those apply to prani or vastu, which has a confinement around it of shariram. So only if there is an upadhi of shariram can you think of something as, oh, this is the left, this is the right, this is the up, down, etc. You can't give any such confinement to Brahman right now because it is full, complete in all aspects. So Tiryak, Urdhvam, Adhaha, Purnam, Satchidanandam, Advayam, Satya Jnana Ananda Atmakam Advayam Dvaya Rahitam. There is no second object to be known. So Jnatradi Triputi Rahitam iti yavat Advayam. I think in Amarakosha you have the reference called Advayavadi Vinayakaha iti vartate. So Advayavadi, one who speaks about na dvayam, non-duality. He is also a Nayaka, one who does not have a Nayaka for him, who does not have a God for him. That is, it is a Bauddha. So a Bauddha is also Advayavadi. So the way you interpret for Advaitin is na vidyate dvaitam yatra. So we need an Adhishtana Nayaka in the form of Brahman to expand on this theory of Advaita Vedanta. So we need Vedas, we need all of those things. Whereas for a Bauddha, there is no Dvayam, but there is nothing also as a substratum. There is Shunyam only as a substratum. So both seem to be Advayavadi. Yet our Vedanta is Advaitam, na vidyate Dvaitam yatra. Your substratum is very important right now. So Jnatradi Triputi Rahitam. There is no Triputi Karanam of Jnanam, Jnata, Jneyam. Jnanam is the knowledge, Jnata is one who understands, Jneyam is the goal, that which has to be understood. This sort of a distinction is absent in the Brahman. So Advayam, Anantam, Anavacchinnam, Anantam, that which doesn't have an end, Nityam, Nasharahitam, eternal, Itaresham, Idam, Itaresham Bhava Vikaranam Sarvesham Upalakshanam. When we talk about Nityam, Nasharahitam, it means that all of the 6 bhavas are not there. Jayate, Vardhate, Asti, Jayate, Vardhate, Parinamate, Viparinamate, Parikshiyate, Nashyati. All 6 bhava vikaras are absent in Brahman. So Janmadi Sarva Vikara Rahitam Ityarthaha. Ekam. So Sajatiya Vijatiya Swagata Bheda Rahitam. There is no Sajatiya Bheda, Vijatiya. We've seen this Sajatiya, Vijatiya and Swagata Bhedam before also. Sajatiya Bhedaha, that which is different from within its own genus, and it is different from another genus. Swagatam, there are differences between the top, bottom and the side, etc. The hand is different from the leg. All of these differentiations are absent in this Vastu. So Ekam, because that is the only Vastu. Veda rahitam cha yat vastu asti tad vastu brahma iti avadharayet. You have to understand it to be Brahman. Sadvotkristam avachyam akhanda anandaika rasam yadasti tadeva brahma iti vijaniyat. Sarvotkristam, that which is beyond everything, which is the ultimate. So Brahmaivedam amritam purastat, Brahma paschat, Brahma dakshinataha cha uttarena adhaha cha urdhvan cha prasritam Brahmaivedam vishwamidam varishtham ityadi shrutehe. Vishwamidam varishtham, probably this is another 1 minute. I haven't checked where this comes from. This is from Mundaka Upanishad. Okay. Mundaka Upanishad 2:11. Brahmaiva yedam amritam purastat. Purastat idam brahma eva vartate. So amritam, that which is namritam, that which doesn't have any destruction, eternal Brahman, which is there in front of us, dakshinataha, right side. See, the moment you are within in that range, akhandakara vritti, and you are in that feeling or attitude or whatever, Brahma bhava. You can't explain. The moment you get into that state, you cannot explain what it is. So it encompasses everything that you can view. That is how you have this sarvatma bhava. So brahmaiva idam vishwam idam varishtham varaha variyan varishthaha. So varaha is the best, varaha is good, better, best, varishtaha is best. This is the best among everything. So tiryagurdhvam adhav purvam sachidanandam advayam anantam nityam ekam yat tat brahma iti avadharayet. Evam tatastha lakshana mukhena brahma upadishya atha atadvyavritti lakshana mukhena api upadishyate. So that which is in the earlier we saw everything as tatastha lakshanam. What we want to know, the moment we know this, we don't need to know anything else. So it is like a kind of a definition. Here you are negating, you are giving the lakshanam for Brahman using negation. Tadvyavritti, you are removing certain things here. Atadvyavritti rupena neti neti iti vyakyena brahma vyatiriktam. So atadvyavritti rupena vedantair lakshyate avyayam akhandanandamekam yat tat brahma iti avadharayet. Vedantaihi lakshyate. Vedantaihi, Upanishadbihi, those who in the Upanishads, it is being indicated through Rupam, through the Marga. So Rupam has so many meanings here. Akriti, form, Saundaryam. Here he takes it as in this methodology. So Atadvyavritti Rupena, methodology of saying this is not it, this is not it. Vyavritti is removal, neti. So Tadvyavritti, instead of removing Brahman, you are removing everything else other than Brahman. So without removing Brahman. So Tadvyavritti tasya vyavrittihi. Vyavritti nama removal or udikkarthum Tamil. So you are avoiding it or pushing it away. Vyavritti. So Tadvyavritti would be Brahma Vyavritti. Brahmanaha Vyavritti. You are pushing away Brahman here, or you are negating Brahman, eliminating Brahman. Not eliminating, eliminating is completely removing, but in a way you are actually
discarding Solama.
And discarding yeah. In a way you are actually trying to say this is not what it is, this is not what it is, all of these are illusory. Abdina, we are discarding all of these things, correct? So Tadvyavritti is Brahma Vyavritti, discarding Brahman. Atadvyavritti is without discarding Brahman. It doesn't give a proper etymological derivation for that word, so I wanted to go into that. Neti neti iti vakyena Brahma vyatirikta dehendriyadi nirasana lakshanena margena. All he is saying is Brahma vyatirikta. Anything that is other than Brahman, you are eliminating all of those things, which is deha indriyadi nirasanam. You are removing, discarding all of those, and that is the path that you adopt to realize what it is. And there is this in Kenopanishad, there is the example of how where has this tree come from, where does this tree exist, does the tree exist in the shakha, does it exist in the trunk or in the moolam, in the bijam, where is it in the bijam, can I open the bijam and see where it is? It is not there. Tatha. So you discard everything else other than Brahman. Margena atadvyavritti rupena vedantaihi upanishadbihi avyayam nasha rahitam akhandam anandam. So that which does not have a destruction. Everything else has a destruction, so this doesn't have a destruction. Since this seems to be destroyed, this is not Brahman. Neti neti. Okay? Akhandam. This has a part. So it is not Brahman. Atadvyavritti. Brahman is akhanda. It does not have, it is a partless entity. Akhanda anandam. All of these objects seem to give us pleasure. Yes, I have happiness when I see TV. I have happiness when I read this book. Possible, but it is only khanda. Anandam. It is not Akhanda Ananda Rupam. Brahman is opposite to all of this. So, Ekam, Desha Kala Vastu Paricheda Rahitam. It is the only Vastu that is capable, because there is no change in it. It naturally, it is the only Vastu, and it gives an Ananda, a bliss which cannot be divided. Yad Vastu Lakshyate Tat Brahma iti avadharayet. So, Dehendriyadi Nisheda avadhitaya yadvastu drishyate. Avadhitaya is at the end. As a conclusive part, as you continuously negate Deha, Indriya, etc., so there is something that remains at the end, avadhi. At the end, there is something that remains, and yad vastu drishyate, that vastu is called Brahma. As you negate things. So, nanu, dehendriyadinam nishedhe sati, tad abhavameva drishyate na anyat kimapi. The question here is, I am negating Deha. I'm negating the Indriyas. I'm negating my ignorance, sleep, all of those things, yes. But then what am I left with? Deha abhava. Indriya abhava. I am only left with an absence of all of these objects. There is nothing that is present. He goes to Shunyavadi of Bodha, right? Esha Shanka Vapus Tushadibihi Koshaihi iti Shloka Vyakhyana Avasare Nishesham Nirasta iti na Atra Vistara Kriyate. Already we saw the example of how Tusha, right? Each body is like a covering that we have. Right? So in that shloka itself, we have given the format of this. I think that shloka is Tusha entila sonno namma bare Vapus Tushadibihi Koshaihi in 16th itself. Koshaihi, Vapuhu, this body is covered by different kosha. Okay? 188. Yeah. Vapus Tushadibihi Koshaihi Yuktam Yukti Avaghatataha. Using yukti, using knowledge, you are trying to beat the grain and remove the husk out of the grains. Atmanam antaram shuddham vivichyat tandulam yatha. We have to separate the tandulam, the grain, from the outer husk. In the same way, we have to separate the Atman from the other 5 panchakosha and other karana shariram, etc., etc. Right? So, he points out to the same shloka here and says, Vapustushadibihi iti shloke eva. This has been mentioned and we have already given it in detail. Okay. Akoshaihi iti shloka vyakhyana avasare nishesham nirasta. Tasmat indriyadi nishedha avadhibhutam. At the end, when you start negating each one of those, Brahma na deha, na indriyamani, na manaha, na pranaha. Each one, you remove each one of those, and at the end, whatever is remaining, tad abhava bhasakam apavaditum atmabhutam. See, this is very important. Tad abhava bhasakam apavaditum. So, tad abhave api bhasakam apavaditum. One cannot deny. Apavaditum na shakyam. It is not possible for us to negate the Atmaswarupa, which, because of the presence of which we are experiencing the body, indriyas, etc. Na kasyachit nahamasmi iti pratitihi. Bhagavatada says that. Nobody has this knowledge that, oh, I don't exist. Even if you go to Western philosophers, they say, I think, therefore I am. At least they have come till Manas. Until there, they have still not gone beyond and looked at the Atman there. I am, because I think I am. So I am is the part that nobody can deny. So that is why abhava tad bhasakam. something that shines even without the presence of Deha and Indriya is something that cannot be negated at all. Apavaditum Atmabodham Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swabhavam Avyayam Akhandanandaikarasam Advayam Yadvastu Asti Tat Pratyag Abhinna Brahma Iti Abhinnam Brahma Pratyagabhinnam Brahma Iti Sukshma Buddhibihi Avabudhyatam. So those who have that subtle brain have to understand subtle understanding, Sukshma Buddhi. They have to understand that this Brahman is nothing different from the Jivatma that exists beyond the Deha, Indriya, etc. Clear? Okay. Atadvyavritti rupena Vedantaihi lakshyate avyayam akhandanandam ekam yat tat brahma iti avadharayet. Now, Brahmadinam amritapayinam api akhandanandatvam avyayatvam cha nasti iti yaduktam tad ayuktameva yataha sarvairapi agnishtomadikam kritva tat padapraptireva prarthyate tasmad asti eva akhandanandatvam avyayatvam cha atra aha. So now in our brain is very little, so we keep coming up with all sorts of questions right now. Maybe from the perspective of a mosquito, the human life is long. Maybe they think that we have happiness and we live along. In the same way, there are people who think that I have to go to Swargam, I have to do yaga, yajna, karma, etc. and attain Indra Padavi. Then my life is set. So I live in Swargam, I enjoy all of the luxuries in Swargam. There are so many other worlds also, until Satyalokam. So Bhur, Bhuvaha, Swaha, Mahaha, Tapaha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satyam. You have so many worlds, 7 worlds there to go one after the other and attain. Brahmadinam, Amritapayinam. From our perspective, it seems that Devas and Brahma and other deities are immortal, right? Amritapayi, they drink the nectar and they seem to have an anandam. Akhandanandam. They have a happiness which there is no stopping for that, obstruction for that ananda that they seem to enjoy. Avyayatvam. There is no destruction for them also. There is no change for them. Tridashaha. They have only yavvanam. Right? They don't have vardhakyam. They don't have the change that we have. Nasti iti yaduktam. Now, these people also don't have Akhandananda. They also, even Brahma, even Chaturmukha Brahma, his time is limited. He is bound by Upadhi. He is bound by a portfolio to perform. Right? So, if they don't get that Akhanda Anandam iti chet, it doesn't fit properly. It doesn't seem to be appropriate. Tad ayuktameva yataha, because sarvairapi, everybody can perform Agnishtoma and other yagam and attain that padavi. They can attain that tatpada praptihi prarthyate. Everybody wants to attain Indra padavi or some other padavi there. Tasmad asti eva akhandanandatvam avyayatvam cha. So there is that akhanda, different kinds of akhanda. These are all lava. These are all small ananda when compared to the Brahmananda. Akhandananda rupasya tasya ananda lava ashritaha brahmadyaha taratamyena bhavanti anandinaha lavaha. Yes, everybody enjoys happiness, that anandam, that bliss at some point or the other. Very true. Right from the smallest of the prani, brahmadi stampam paryantam, everybody enjoys that anandam. But there is a gradation to that anandam. When you are in Brahma Bhava, there is no gradation. Taratamyam nasti. That's what he is trying to prove here. So, tasya ukta lakshanasya akhanda ananda rupasya parabrahmanaha ananda lava ashritaha, those forms of Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, Indra, Marut, Surya, everybody, all of these Brahmadyaha, they are ashritaha. They have caught on to just one bit of that Anandam, the Brahmananda. So Ananda Lesham Ashritaha, they Avalambitaha, they are hanging on to, or they are just a representative of a little bit of Anandam. That's all. Taratamyena, Taratama Bhavena, each one has a position, right? When we see in many Puranas that when Indra gets defeated by the Asuras, he immediately goes to Brahma. Brahma then goes to Vishnu. Vishnu then goes to... there is a gradation there even in the power and the Ananda that each one of them enjoys. So, Nyuna Adhika Bhavena Anandinaha Anandavantaha Lavaha, Alpaswarupinaha. They, according to Advaita Vedanta, everybody is only a Saguna, whereas these are all, we are talking about Nirguna Brahman, which is the ultimate. Even Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, everybody are Saguna Brahma. And they are Alpaswarupi when compared to Parabrahma. Parichinnaha, since they have a form in them. The only difference is between a Jiva and an Ishvara is we do not know our true nature to be Brahman. They know that their true nature is Brahman, at least the Trimurti, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. They know that their true nature is Brahman, and at any point when someone comes and says, they will immediately sit down and say, okay, yes, I know. But they have been assigned a portfolio to perform in this Vyavaharika world. Right? So, Yasmat te Brahmananda lava ashritaha parichinnaha cha bhavanti, because they are only a bit, they only represent, or they only are a form of a particle of that bliss. And parichinnaha, they are confined by upadhi. Hence, tasmat tesham akhandanandatvam avyayatvam cha asiddham. Hence, you cannot say that they have akhanda ananda, nor are they avyaya. They cannot be divided. That sort of adjectives that we attribute to Brahman cannot be attributed to the Saguna Brahman. Etasyaiva anandasya anyani bhutani matram upajivanti iti shrutehe. So, matram upajivanti. Matram upajivanti. Matra is actually just a little bit. They go Taittiriya Upanishad, I think. Brihadaranyaka also and Taittiriya Upanishad. Etasyaiva anandasya anyani bhutani matram upajivanti. They live only, other beings live only on a particle or a small section of this Ananda, which is Brahmananda. So, etena Brahmananda sampadane eva yatnah kartabhyaha. One has to work towards the Nirguna sadhana rather than attaining a position of Brahma or Indra, etc., etc. Right? Akhandananda rupasya tasyananda lavashritaha Brahmadhyaha taratamyena bhavanti anandinaha lavaha. Okay. Any questions? Yeah.